Assalamu alaikum. During the last class, we discussed the various types of insurance that normally exist so that certain insurances are carried out in order to have a safe play as far as business, home insurances, etc. are concerned. The types normally that were discussed during the course of our discussion was number one, the homeowner's insurance. Number two, it is the aviation insurance. The third being the business insurance. And the fourth one is the casualty insurance. Fifth, the crime insurance, crop insurance, disability insurance, and expatriate insurance, financial loss insurance, health insurance, life insurance, political risk insurance, and property insurance. These were the various types of insurances which were discussed. कितनी तरह के इंश्योरेंसेस हैं और क्या क्या उनके मराहिल होते हैं और क्यों हमें ज़रूरत होती है, all of these insurances were discussed. और फिर ये भी देखना होता है कि टाइप्स ऑफ इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज क्या क्या हैं, वो टाइप्स ऑफ इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज जिससे हमें पता चल जाए कि कौन सी इंश्योरेंस कंपनी किस तरह की इंश्योरेंसेस करवाती है. अब इसी ज़िम्न में एक बात और भी पैदा होती है कि इन केस ऑफ अ लॉजमेंट ऑफ एनी क्लेम बाय द इंश्योर्ड, तो क्या ये देखना होता है कि वो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी उसके क्लेम को ऑनर कर सकेगी या नहीं. लिहाजा फाइनेंशियल वायबिलिटी ऑफ द इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज is also under consideration and was discussed. फिर एक जहन में सवाल उठता है जिसमें इस्लामिक कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ इंश्योरेंस का आता है. इस्लामिक कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ इंश्योरेंस क्या है? इस्लामिक कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ इंश्योरेंस जिसका एक जिक्र हुआ था वो तकाफुल के हवाले से कि वो क्या है. अब ये सारे इंश्योरेंसेस जब हमने डिस्कस कर लिए तब हमें ये देखना है कि और कौन से ऐसे फैक्टर्स हैं जो रहते हैं जिसके हिसाब से ये फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस अपना वहाँ पार्ट प्ले करते हैं. और ये हमें ज़रूर याद रखना चाहिए कि हमारी जो इकॉनमी है वो एग्रो बेस्ड है. एग्रीकल्चर के हवाले से हमारी इकॉनमी में ही फ़रोग हासिल किया जाता है, क्योंकि हमें यह अंदाज़ा है, हमें मालूम है बल्कि कि 60% ऑफ आवर पॉपुलेशन इज़ एग्रो बेस्ड. हाँ, वक्त के साथ साथ ये चीज़ ज़रूर सामने आ रही है कि लोग जो विलेजेस से अर्बन एरियाज़ में आ रहे हैं, लेकिन अभी भी हमारी जो बेसिस है, हमारी जो रूट्स हैं, हमारी जो फाउंडेशन है वो एग्रीकल्चर है. और एग्रीकल्चर के हवाले से फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस क्या पार्ट प्ले करते हैं ये भी देखना ज़रूरी है हमारे लिए, क्योंकि जब एग्रीकल्चर में ग्रोथ होगी, बेसिस या फाउंडेशन हमारी ग्रो करेगी, हमारी इकॉनमी को जब स्ट्रेंथन करेगी तो नेचुरली हमारी ओवरऑल इम्पैक्ट जो है इकॉनमी का वो बड़ा स्ट्रॉन्ग और स्टेबल होगा. लिहाजा रोल ऑफ फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन टू बूस्ट अप एग्रीकल्चर इन आवर इकोनॉमिक सिस्टम इज़ considered to be the prerequisite of our overall growth perspective. So let us see now as to what are the role that is substantiated by the economic development in our country, which is of course a contributing factor to the overall growth, and especially the financial institutions play in the development of the agriculture sector. So let us see the role of agriculture in Pakistan. The economy is of pivotal nature. Due to diverse geographical and climatic conditions, the country has tremendous potential for growth and development in agriculture. However, adequate and timely financial assistance to the farmers will improve production potential of agriculture sector in the country. जब हमें अपनी इकॉनमी को ग्रो करवाना है एग्रीकल्चर के हवाले से, तो हमें हर वक्त किसानों की, हर वक्त फार्मर्स की हमें ग्रोथ को इंश्योर करना है, सब्सटेंशिएट करना है, कोरॉबोरेट करना है कि किस तरह से ये ग्रो करें. उन्हें किसी तरह से भी किसी इकॉनमी में मसले की गुंजाइश नहीं रहने देनी है. और इसमें बहुत अहम रोल प्ले करते हैं ये फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस. हर कदम पर फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस सपोर्ट करते हैं इन फार्मर्स को, क्योंकि अक्सर फार्मर जब सब कुछ अपना इन्वेस्ट कर देता है तो उसके पास पैसों की ज़रूरत होती है. वो कहाँ से ले, अब किससे जाके मांगे. नेचुरली उसका तो एक साइकिल है जो वो उसने कंप्लीट करना है. और वो साइकिल क्या है? पहले वो जाएगा, सीड्स लेके आएगा, फिर अपने खेतों को सही करेगा, इस लायक करेगा कि उन्हें बो दे. उसके बाद उसे और ट्रैक्टर्स चाहिए, उसे क्या चाहिए, थ्रेशर्स चाहिए, उसे पेस्टिसाइड्स चाहिए, उसे मैन्योर चाहिए, उसे पता नहीं और क्या क्या चाहिए। जब उसके पास सरमाया होगा ही नहीं तो क्या होगा, वो फिर कुछ नहीं कर सकेगा। लिहाजा फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस डेफिनेटली come to the rescue of these farmers in order to ensure the registered growth in the agriculture sector. The modern concept of agricultural credit envisages establishment of an efficient institutional credit system to serve as a package of credit, supplies and knowledge for the overall strength of the farmers who at present suffer from low productivity and financial insecurity. This is a major contributing factor. This may be strengthening the financial sector as far as the agriculture is concerned. Because as far as the growth in agricultural economy is concerned, the financial institution comes to the rescue. It simply monitors, it simply goes on seeing and having an overview as to the development of this agriculture sector in our economy. अब क्या होता है, अब एक किसान जो है उसने सब अपना कर दिया, उसके पास पैसे नहीं है तो फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर को पार्ट प्ले करना पड़ता है, फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन को अपना रोल प्ले करना पड़ता है। और जब तक वो एक मुअस्सिर रोल प्ले नहीं होगा उस वक्त तक हाउ कैन यू एक्सपेक्ट द डिजायर्ड रिजल्ट्स, हाउ कैन यू एक्सपेक्ट द डिजायर्ड ग्रोथ, हाउ कैन यू एक्सेप्ट the desired overall economic perspective. क्योंकि as I have said to you earlier कि ये जो भी हमारा इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ है या हमारी इकोनॉमी की जो बेसिस है वो एग्रीकल्चर है, और इस एग्रीकल्चर के हवाले से हम जितनी भी तरक्की कर लें वो कम है। A successful credit evaluation system therefore should have the basic ingredients to provide adequate amount at the right time and in the right form to help farmers in making a productive use of loan funds. आप ज़रा गाँव में जाएं, देहातों में जाएं और देखें तो ज़रा जाकर कि कैसे कैसे खेत हैं, ज़मीनें पड़ी हुई हैं। अक्सर देखकर ज़मीनों को बड़ा अफसोस हुआ करता है। अफसोस किस तरह से होता है कि यहाँ लैक ऑफ फंड्स की वजह से वो ऐसे ही ज़मीनें खाली पड़ी हुई हैं, वहाँ पे कुछ हो नहीं रहा। लिहाजा अब हुआ ये है कि हर जो ज़्यादातर बल्कि फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस ने अपनी ब्रांचेस को हिदायत दी हैं कि वो इस ज़िम्मे में किसी को भी पीछे ना रहने दें, जिसकी जितनी भी ज़रूरी मदद की जा सकती हो ताकि वो कहीं पीछे ना रह जाए। क्योंकि जो हमारी बेसिस है वो अगर पीछे हो गई तो फिर हम आगे ग्रो क्या करेंगे, हम आगे डेवलप क्या करेंगे, और उसके हिसाब से हम फिर आगे चलते हैं। अब लेट अस सी नाउ दैट व्हिच आर द बैंक्स ऑथराइज्ड फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग एग्रीकल्चरल क्रेडिट टू फार्मर्स एंड द ग्रोअर्स। All banks can provide agricultural credit to farmers, growers. The State Bank of Pakistan does not restrain any bank from providing agricultural credit. However, under the agricultural credit scheme, indicative targets are given to 21 banks on annual basis. The State Bank of Pakistan ने इजाज़त दी है, बल्कि यूँ कहना चाहिए हिदायत दी हैं कि सारे बैंक्स जो हैं जब कभी एग्रीकल्चरल क्रेडिट की बात आए तो वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बढ़ चढ़ कर इसमें हिस्सा ले, ताकि कोई भी इसमें पीछे ना रह जाए, कोई कमी वाक़ई ना हो जाए। जब तक ऐसा नहीं होगा उस वक्त तक हमारे मुल्क में जो एग्रीकल्चर का निज़ाम है उसमें सेटबैक होता रहेगा। लिहाजा स्टेट बैंक की खुसूसी इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं कि जितना भी मुमकिन हो सके they should go all out in order to promote the sector, whether it is the case of the pesticides, whether it is the case of the seeds, whether it is the case of the tractor or the tillers or the threshers, whatever may be the requirement of the farmers, the growers, they should come forward and should be enthusiastically engaged in the development of the agriculture sector so that a larger economic growth results. So this is how it has been taken by our central bank, which is the State Bank of Pakistan. These include 2 specialized banks, 5 major commercial banks, and 14 domestic private commercial banks. They are there to come to the rescue of the agriculture sector. They are there to help out the farmers. They are there to salvage the lost cause as far as the growers are concerned. Because as far as the agriculture sector is concerned, unless and until there is a growth, there is a potential there, of course, in existence, and that is, if exploited, will, of course, bring in tremendous results as far as the economic development is concerned. Now we'll see for ourselves as to who is eligible for the agricultural credit from the banks. Because it should not be generally accepted that whatever the conditions may be, anybody can go and complete the information or the formalities and he gets the credit. No, under no circumstances they should be allowed. Always the genuine growers, the genuine farmers, they should be benefited by it, because it is always the genuineness that is of significant importance, and the growers must benefit by, because it is going to have a consequential effect as far as the agricultural development in our country is concerned. Any individual, farmers, livestock farmers, fishermen, fish farmers, corporate firms, cooperative societies, self-help groups undertaking livestock-related activities, fish catching, processing, packing companies, and fish exporters having sufficient knowledge and relevant experience are eligible to draw agricultural credit from the banks. You could well see for yourself that there is a long list of the people who could benefit by the facilities that are being offered by various commercial institutions, and there are certain specialized agricultural financial institutions which would of course come to the rescue and help of the growers as well as the farmers. So this is the condition. It is there for us, and it is there for the agriculturists to come to take the help, to take the assistance, to seek assistance from these financial institutions in case of financial distress. ये है नतीजा इसका आपके सामने. Let us see, are the traders and intermediaries engaged in trading, processing of agricultural commodities eligible for agricultural credit? Sometimes it crops up into our mind that instead of the growers and the farmers, there could be somebody else also who could benefit by the financial facilities which are being extended by these commercial banks as regard to the financial credit. Now we have to see for ourselves how and where this system is to their rescue. Loans to entities exclusively engaged in processing, packaging and marketing of agricultural produce shall not fall under agricultural financing and would be covered under commercial or SME financing. However, agricultural financing can be extended to entities, including corporate farms, partnerships and individuals engaged in farming activity as well as processing, packaging and marketing of mainly their own agricultural produce, provided 75% of the agriculture produce being processed, packaged and marketed is being produced by the above-mentioned entities themselves. So there is now a clean line of distinction. There is now a clear demarcation as to who can avail the agricultural credit from the financial institutions, whether it could be a commercial bank or it could be a tailored, customized or a specialized agricultural financial institution. Who could be the beneficiaries? And this is what we have discussed. Nobody should take advantage of this situation. Nobody should be in a position to exploit what is there for the benefit of the genuine growers and the buyers. It has been spelled out, because unless and until the genuine farmers are being trained and are being financed for the purposes of the growth in the agricultural sector, don't expect to have a windfall as far as our agricultural economy is concerned. It has to be like this. The financial facilities have to be extended to the proper and the genuine farmers and the growers, because unless and until they get the benefit out of all this assistance, they will not grow, and this is the prerequisite. The applicant fulfilling the following criteria may visit any branch of banks extending agricultural credit. We have to be quite stringent as far as our financial institutions are concerned, and we must bring into fore the formalities and the legal requirement as to who could be the person who would be benefited as far as the agricultural credit is concerned. And now what is the procedure that is to be entailed? What is the requirement that has to be completed? What are the formalities that are to be completed when you are eligible as far as obtaining of this agri-credit is concerned? Applicant must be a genuine farmer tenant. For this purpose, a farmer's name must appear in revenue record, and a tenant should establish this fact through a government acknowledgement, or the applicant must be handling non-farm activities like livestock, poultry, dairy farming, fishery, forestry or firms, cooperative societies, self-help groups undertaking agriculture-related activities. The borrower should be holder of the computerized national identity card in cases of individuals. This should be a mandatory requirement, and it is a prerequisite that you must be in possession of your computerized national identity card in order to ascertain, in order to verify, in order to certify, in order to confirm that you are the valid permanent resident of that area, so that you may be the genuine person who would be availing the financial facility from the respective financial institution, irrespective of the fact that whatever the purpose might be, because there is a long list which has defined absolutely your requirement as far as your agriculture requirement is concerned. It could be fishery, as has been explained to you, because there are certain large fish farms that are available in the villages, etc. और ये बड़े-बड़े fish farms होते हैं जो जिसमें आपको मनो मछलियाँ निकलती हैं और वो जाती हैं और एक से एक प्राइस और कवेटेड किस्म की मछली है जो आपको बहुत, आप एक्सपोर्ट अगर करें तो उसकी बहुत ज़्यादा डिमांड है। लिहाजा जब भी कभी कोई बात होती है तो ये फिशरीज, बाकायदा फिश फार्म्स जो है वो उनको काफ़ी फ़रोग़ दिया जाता है। तो ये अहम एक ज़रिया है जो हमें हमारे एग्रीकल्चर को बहुत इसमें पॉजिटिव कंट्रीब्यूशन मिलता है। यहीं तक नहीं बल्कि पोल्ट्री, आप देखें आए दिन कितना कंजम्पशन होता है, बल्कि यूँ कहना चाहिए कि अब पोल्ट्री एक ऐसी कमोडिटी हो गई है कि आए दिन हर घर की अब ये ज़रूरत बन गई है। जहाँ भी आप जाएंगे आपको ज़्यादातर आपको ये पोल्ट्री, उसमें एग्स भी आते हैं, चिकन भी आता है, सब आपकी रिक्वायरमेंट बनती जाती है और वक्त के साथ साथ ये ज़रूरत होती है। और जब तक ये ज़रूरत है इसका प्रोडक्शन में बहुत हिस्सा है और ये प्रोडक्शन किसी अंदाज में भी इग्नोर या निगलेक्ट नहीं किया जा सकता। दिस बिकॉज is considered to be a major requirement of the large households in our country. The borrower should not be a defaulter of any bank or a financial institution. This condition may be relaxed in cases where the bank is satisfied with the credit worthiness of the borrower and that the earlier default was circumstantial and not willful. Yes, there are two kinds of defaults. One is a circumstantial default and the other is a willful default. What is a circumstantial default? Supposing you are carrying on with some kind of a business, right? And the environment may not be conducive for that completion of the business. For instance, if a poultry business is being carried out and all of a sudden a disease breaks out, तो बेचारी मुर्गियाँ सारी मर गई। अब एक आपकी ही मुर्गी नहीं मरी, बल्कि वो जितने उस एरिया में कारोबार करने वाले थे सब हादसे से दो चार हो गए। नेचुरली जब वो आगे फरोग होता, उसका आगे वो बेची जाती, उनका डिस्पोजल होता, उससे रिटर्न्स होते और वो फिर बैंकों के कर्जे अदा होते। जब ये सूरत हाल हुई ही नहीं तो ये कहाँ से विलफुल हुआ? उसने तो अपना सारा पैसा लगा दिया उसमें और रिटर्न्स उसमें कुछ भी नहीं मिले। नतीजा क्या हुआ? उसका सर्कमस्टेंशियल डिफॉल्ट हो गया। दिस इज नोन एज द डिफॉल्ट बाय सर्कमस्टांसेस। अब विलफुल क्या है? मैंने बैंक से कर्जा ले लिया है और किसी तरह से भी मैंने वापस नहीं करना, कुछ भी हो जाए। नतीजा क्या हुआ? चाहे वो कारोबार लिया ही लोन इसी वजह से था कि ताकि इसकी अदायगी ना करनी हो, लिहाजा ये होता है विलफुल डिफॉल्ट। जहाँ ये सूरत हाल होती है, एट टाइम्स willful default shall never be ignored, but as far as circumstantial default is concerned, it of course can be considered leniently because it is generally not the fault of the borrower who has suffered this fate or who has gone through this process of a default. Naturally, he cannot redeem the lost position because this is the total environment which has made him to complete, which has made him to have this circumstantial default. Another aspect of this, applicant must produce proper securities, sureties, passbook or other collaterals acceptable to the bank, because generally this is the condition or one of the prerequisites of the State Bank of Pakistan, that unless and until there is a collateral a sufficient security in shape of property or in shape of some kind of stocks, if these two are not available, the banks would be constrained not to finance a particular project, because this is the mandatory requirement. It so happens that in case of a default, the bank might take a recourse to the liquidation as far as the loan facility is concerned on that particular collateral or that property. And if there is no other collateral or a backup available, then of course the bank cannot retrieve. So this has become the mandatory requirement as enunciated by the State Bank of Pakistan, that without a sufficient collateral or a backup, the bank may not extend some kind of a financial assistance. Well, as far as the agriculture finance is concerned, or an agricultural credit is concerned, or any kind of a financial facility regarding the promotion of agri is concerned, the bank would ask for some kind of a backup or a collateral. So this has to be provided. जो ये एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट होते हैं, ज़मीनें वगैरह तो होती हैं ना इनके पास, तो वो दे देते हैं और उसके अगेंस्ट कर्जा मिल जाता है. तो ये कंडीशंस होती हैं जो मीट विद करनी होती हैं बैंक की फाइनेंशियल फैसिलिटीज़ में. अब हम मज़ीद ये देखते हैं कि किस तरह से और इसमें आसानी पैदा हो जाती है as far as the promotion of the agriculture sector is concerned. If one brother was declared defaulter, do the banks provide loan to the other brothers? अब ये एक क्वेश्चन है आपके सामने कि अगर एक भाई ने डिफॉल्ट किया तो क्या दूसरे भाई ने अगर लोन के लिए अप्लाई किया तो उसे बैंक देगा या नहीं देगा? अब ये आप सोचें, अपने जहन में डालिए और देखिए इसका जवाब क्या आता है. आपको क्या आप समझते हैं कि एक भाई है, भाई तो है, ब्लड रिलेशनशिप है और उसको वो लोन नहीं देना चाहिए? Every individual could be separately considered for grant of loans if he had credit worthiness and separate landed property. ये है इसका बेसिक प्रिंसिपल कि अगर एक भाई ने डिफॉल्ट किया, क्योंकि ज़रूरी नहीं है कि वो भाई उसके साथ रहता हो, ज़रूरी नहीं है कि वो भाई उसके साथ कारोबार करता हो, ज़रूरी नहीं है कि उस भाई का उठना बैठना या रहना सहना उसके साथ हो. जब ये सूरत हाल नहीं है तो क्या है, उसकी अलग प्रॉपर्टी है, उसका अलग कारोबार है, उसका अलग सेटअप है, उसके अलग रिसोर्सेज हैं, उसके अलग रीपेमेंट टेक्निक्स हैं, रीपेमेंट बिहेवियर है, उसकी अलग डीलिंग है. तो वो अगर एक भाई ने डिफॉल्ट कर दिया तो दूसरा उससे कहाँ मुतासिर हुआ? लिहाजा अगर कोई भी एक भाई ने डिफॉल्ट किया, दूसरे भाई ने नहीं किया या उसका कारोबार चल रहा है, उसकी अलग प्रॉपर्टी है, तो बैंक यकीनन उसे कंसिडर करेगा और वो उसको वो फाइनेंशियल फैसिलिटी जो वो रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा है उसको कंसिडर करेगा. अब देखें, फॉर व्हाट पर्पसेस द बैंक्स प्रोवाइड एग्रीकल्चर क्रेडिट. अब एग्रीकल्चर क्रेडिट किन किन मकासद के लिए दिया जा सकता है? व्हाट कुड बी द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, व्हाट वुड बी द कंसिडरेशंस, व्हाट वुड बी the criteria when the agriculture credit is to be extended to any borrower. Let us see. Agricultural credit is provided by banks for complete value chain of activities such as production, crop loans, that is inputs, seed, fertilizer and pesticides, etc. Development loans, tractors and tube wells, agricultural machinery, equipments, implements, etc. Corporate farming, marketing, cold storage godowns on farm and off-farm silos, processing of crops other than major crops, fruits and vegetables. अब ये fruits and vegetables को भी रखा है. हालांकि ये जो fruits and vegetables हैं, इसकी कोई जमानत नहीं होती कि ये कितनी देर तक सही रहेंगे. ये perishable commodities में आ जाते हैं कि आज आपने काम किया, किसी वजह से वो डिले हो गया, आपने बाहर भेजना है, कहीं किसी दूसरे शहर में भेजना है, तिजारत के नुक्ते निगाह से, कारोबार के नुक्ते निगाह से, if you send those fruits and vegetables somewhere and some sort of some kind of a delay crops up or happens, then what is going to be the result? There is that particular lifetime, that is that particular period, जब तक वो चीज़ ठीक रह सकती है. उसके बाद क्या होगा, वो चीज़ ख़राब हो जाती है. लेकिन इसको भी यकीनी बनाया गया कि ऐसा बहुत कम हो और इसमें भी तिजारत को काफ़ी फ़रोग़ दिया गया. इसमें भी फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर इन्वॉल्व हुआ और इसमें भी एग्रीकल्चर क्रेडिट दे दिया गया. इतना रिस्क होने के बावजूद भी ये सिचुएशन रही. अब और क्या है? ग्रेडिंग, पॉलिशिंग, पैकिंग, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एंड एक्सपोर्ट्स ऑफ एग्रीकल्चरल गुड्स एटसेट्रा. Agricultural credit is also available for non-farm sector such as poultry, livestock, dairy farming, forestry and fisheries, apiculture, sericulture, floriculture, horticulture, etc. अब ये सारी मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजीज हैं. अब क्या है, हमारे पास अगर पूरी ज़मीन ना हो फिर भी हम उसमें काश्तकारी कर सकते हैं, उसमें फिर भी हम एग्रीकल्चर कर सकते हैं, उसमें हम फिर भी फाइनेंसिंग कर सकते हैं और तरह तरह से हम उसमें से रिजल्ट्स प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं. इस ज़िम्मे में लोग गए हैं बाहर, उन्होंने ट्रेनिंग ली है, ग्रोअर्स को बाहर भेजा है, बैंक्स वाले भी गए हैं बाहर ट्रेनिंग लेकर आए हैं और ये प्रमोट किया है जगह जगह, मुख्तलिफ गाँव में, विलेजेस में, रूरल एरियाज़ में, हर जगह जाके उसका चर्चा किया है, उसको जाके सिखाया है, बताया है कि किसी तरह से भी कोई दिक्कत या उनको मुश्किलात पेश ना आए. क्योंकि ये बात हमेशा, जैसे मैंने जब इब्तिदा की इस लेक्चर की तो उस वक्त भी मैंने कहा था कि ये ज़रूरी इस वजह से है कि हमारी इकॉनमी जो है वो एग्रो बेस्ड है. हमारी जो बेसिस ही इस बात पर चलती है, जब हम हर तरह से डिपेंड एग्रीकल्चर पे करते हैं तो आप क्या समझते हैं, हमें हर तरह से आगे ट्रेन होना चाहिए और इसकी हमें ज़रूरत है. लिहाजा इसमें मुख्तलिफ जो जदीद तरीक़ेकार हैं एग्रीकल्चर फार्मिंग की, तो वो भी हमें सीखने पड़े और सीखने पड़ते हैं. इसकी वजह यह है ताकि इसमें कोई रुकावट या कमी वाक़ई ना हो सके और इसी तरह से ये हम आगे फ़रोग देते रहे. अब ये हॉर्टिकल्चर का जो प्रोसेस है वो भी मुख्तलिफ साइंटिफिक बेसिस पे शुरू हो गया. उसके मुख्तलिफ इक्विपमेंट्स आ गए, मशीन्स आई, टूल्स आए. सेरिकल्चर जो है वो भी मुख्तलिफ जो दूसरे बाहर ममालिक में स्टाइल ऑफ फार्मिंग होती है वो भी यहाँ पे सीख के आए, वो भी कहा गया ताकि कोई भी ज़मीन का जो खित्ता है वो पीछे ना रह जाए और वहाँ बंजर ना पड़ा रहे. These are the various modes, these are the various kinds of methodology that has been adopted as far as our agriculture produce is concerned. There is no provision of financing for procurement of fruits, crops under the list of eligible items for agriculture credit. Such lending would be covered under commercial or SME financing. ये जो एग्रीकल्चर क्रेडिट है इसमें जैसा कि मैं आपसे जिक्र कर रहा था कि किसी भी अंदाज में किसी जगह भी अगर इसको फाइनेंसिंग की जा रही है तो वो चाहे एक शोबे से ना होकर किसी दूसरे शोबे में कर दी जाए, मगर बात ये होती है कि ओवरऑल इम्पैक्ट जो है वो फार्मर और ग्रोअर की रेस्क्यू के लिए होता है. Therefore, whether it is the SME or whether it is the agricultural credit, it is one and the same thing. As long as that farmer or as long as that grower is in a position to obtain the credit and he is in a position to continue with whatever work that he is doing is carried out and without any difficulty in this regard. Therefore, it is a prerequisite that whether he approaches the agricultural credit sector or he approaches the small or medium enterprise, he must be in a position to obtain the requisite finance which is required. So it is hardly of any significance whether he is getting it from the agricultural bank or from the SME. Now, another consideration should be what types of loans are provided to farmers and growers by the banks. क्योंकि ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि जो उठ के चला गया एग्रीकल्चरल क्रेडिट में, जो उठा वो SME में चला गया कि मुझे एग्री फाइनेंसिंग करो, मुझे अपना कुछ एक्सपोर्ट करना है, कोई तिजारत करनी है. कम से कम कोई क्राइटेरिया या कोई ना कोई कंसिडरेशन तो होना चाहिए. एंड जब तक कंसिडरेशन ना हो उस वक्त तक बैंक्स जो हैं वो लोन एक्सटेंड नहीं करते. एंड इन ऑर्डर टू हैव अ क्राइटेरिया, this is quite natural that whenever you are out to do something, that criteria has to be maintained. Look here, today you are a student, tomorrow you would be taking up some kind of a job somewhere, and when you are taking up a job, you will be going over there as per a different criteria, and when you are working over there, you are being given a tailored or a specialized department to work. Keeping that in view, there is a line of distinction which will be drawn. So naturally, everywhere there are standards, everywhere there is a criteria. So why one should object as far as the criteria here in the extension of the agri credit is concerned. Banks are providing three types of loans. Short term, that is up to 18 months. Medium term, that is between 1.5 to 5 years. And long term, between 5 and 7 years. While short-term loans are provided for working capital, medium and long-term loans are given for developmental requirements, such as improvement and development of land, purchase of tractors and other agricultural machinery, equipments, implements related to farm and non-farm sector, etc. Yes, this is the criteria. So you must be having an idea right now as to what could be the possibilities where one would be extended the agricultural credit, and what could be the duration, what could be the time, and whether it is going to be a short-term credit, or it is going to be a medium-term credit, or it is going to be a long-term credit. So it has to be specified, and it all depends upon the needs that is there as far as that particular farmer or a grower is concerned. There is that standard, there is that criteria, and when you need it, what for you need it, and how can you apply. This is all there in front of you in order to facilitate availing financial credit from the agricultural sector or from the small and medium enterprise. Now, as far as the extension of the financial facility is concerned regarding the agricultural credit, why the markup rate of agricultural credit is higher than the markup rate of commercial industrial credit, there would definitely be a question in your mind. आपके जहन में ज़रूर सवाल उठता होगा कि ये एग्री क्रेडिट है, इसका मार्कअप तो कम होना चाहिए, और कम होना इस वजह से चाहिए कि बिकॉज everything is being based on the agriculture here in our economy. And as I had discussed with you earlier, that our economy is totally dependent on the agricultural produce, because about 60 to 70% people are dependent on this agriculture. So naturally, whatever facilities which are being extended as far as finances are concerned, it solely comes to the rescue of the economy as well at the same time. So why there is this distinction? Why there is this discrimination? Because agri credit has to be at a reduced markup rate vis-a-vis the commercial credit. But we have an explanation for this. And let's see what that explanation is. In the post-financial sector reforms era, banks' markup rates are not fixed for different sectors, but are based on their cost structure and risk profile of the borrowers and the sector. Banks are required to use KIBOR, Karachi Interbank Offered Rates, as a benchmark for determining pricing of their loans. This is the major requirement. This is not the requirement of the commercial banks. This is not the prerequisite of the agricultural credit bank. This is not the prerequisite of the small and medium enterprise bank. But this is the requirement of the economy, because the risk that is there as far as this particular sector is concerned is immense. I was discussing with you the agricultural produce. I was discussing with you the farming sector, that is the fish farming sector. I was discussing with you the poultry sector of the agricultural side. Now, what all it entails. Recently, and over the past few years and a few days and a couple of months back, you would have got this news in the newspapers and in various media, television, electronic and print media, that there is that kind of a viral disease which has spread in the chicken. वो क्या था, इस तरह से सामने हुआ, ये आपने देख लिया, हजारों मुर्गियाँ मर गईं. अब जो एरिया जिसने फाइनेंस वहाँ पे किया हो, उसका पैसा तो डूब गया. फिर अगर फिश फार्मिंग के हवाले से वो फाइनेंस किया गया, मछलियाँ मर जाएं, किसी भी रीज़न से मर सकती हैं, उसमें कोई आके जहर दे के चला जाए, बात ये भी होती हैं. कुछ ऐसे भी फैक्टर्स हो जाते हैं जिसमें पानी कहीं कम हो जाए, मछलियाँ खुद तड़प के उस आ जाती हैं किनारे की तरफ, और सारी की सारी मछलियाँ जो हैं मर जाती हैं, ख़त्म हो जाती हैं. अब बैंक ने जो क्रेडिट दिया है वो क्या है, वो तो दे दिया, अब उसमें रिस्क किस कदर इन्वॉल्व है. जब उसमें रिस्क इन्वॉल्व है तो जहाँ कहीं कोई ऐसी चीज़ होगी तो वो चीज़ फिर महंगी हो जाती है ना. क्योंकि उसमें रिस्क जब ज़्यादा होता है, आप यूँ ही देख लें रोज़मर्रा की ज़िंदगी में जब भी हम कभी कुछ काम करते हैं और वो बहुत ज़्यादा रिस्क वाला होता है तो क्या होता है, वो चीज़ महंगी होती है, क्योंकि उसमें किसी वक्त भी ख़राब होने का या ख़तरे से खाली नहीं होता और वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा वो चीज़ होती है, वो तबाह हो जाती है, ख़राब हो जाती है। जो कोई ऐसे सेक्टर्स होते हैं तो वहाँ रिस्क ज़्यादा क्योंकि इन्वॉल्व होता है, इसलिए उनकी प्राइसिंग जो है नॉर्मल जो क्रेडिट होता है उससे ज़्यादा रखी जाती है, ताकि इन केस ऑफ दैट इवेंचुअलिटी वो उससे सैल्वेज किया जा सके। ज़्यादा कितनी भी रखी जा सके, it becomes absolutely difficult and at times virtually impossible to retrieve whatever has been invested as far as the bank financing is concerned. So as a precautionary measure, the banks normally extend this agricultural financial facility to the farmers and the growers in such areas, in such departments, in such products on a higher side, in order to have an edge, so that in case of some kind of a catastrophe, the bank may fall back upon the higher rate of interest. Our farming community is generally unaware of different agricultural loan schemes and products. What efforts have been made by the State Bank for awareness of the farming community? We know for sure that as far as our agricultural economy and the agricultural sector is concerned, the farmers and the growers, they may not be all that literate, they may not be all that educated, they may not all be that school going, they may not be all aware of whatever is happening around. Therefore, State Bank of Pakistan, which is the central bank of Pakistan, has enunciated very definite principles to all the commercial financial institutions as well as the agricultural credit banks, that they must be in a position to make aware every grower and the farmer in their area as to what is the general trend and what and how they should come up to them as far as the agricultural credit is concerned. Because unless and until they know, they will not be coming to them for some kind of a rescue relief or a rescue operation. And unless and until they are familiar with the procedures, they will not come and avail the financial facilities which are being extended as far as the promotion of the agricultural credit is concerned. And now what are the steps which had been enunciated by the State Bank of Pakistan, especially as far as the agricultural credit is concerned? For awareness building of the farmers, State Bank of Pakistan has published pamphlets, brochures, booklets containing information about different agricultural credit schemes, products in Urdu and English as well as in all regional languages. And these publications have been distributed to the stakeholders, including farming community. Now this is an effort which is being done by the State Bank of Pakistan in order to promote that the agriculturists or the growers, they should be in a position to know what are the types, the conditions, the formalities, the prerequisites that they may be fulfilling in order to get that particular kind of a financial facility. In that regard, there are certain publications which too are being floated out, which too are being distributed amongst the growers and the farmers. And the State Bank of Pakistan is a bit strict in this regard, that wherever the branches of the commercial banks are and whichever branch is associated as far as the disbursement of the agricultural credit is concerned, must make the growers and the farmers aware of the surroundings, aware of the circumstances, aware of whatever is there as far as the agricultural credit is concerned. So naturally, literature is being published, literature is being floated out, literature is being distributed in shape of pamphlets, brochures and so on. So this is the effort which is being carried out as far as the State Bank of Pakistan is concerned. And now let's see that is it only the State Bank of Pakistan which is carrying on such kind of an awareness activity as far as the farmers and the growers are concerned, or are there any other institution as well which is taking care as far as to make the general awareness of the agricultural credit and the farmers are concerned? Besides, State Bank of Pakistan has been arranging special outreach training programs since 2003 in different cities of Pakistan for the banks. Agriculturists, Nazims, Chambers of Agriculture and representatives of Farmers Association, State Bank of Pakistan officials along with banks representatives also undertake field visits across the country, especially to make the farmers aware of loaning facilities available and various schemes and new products of the banks. It is not only the State Bank of Pakistan through the publications and other advertising material that they are trying to reach across the farmers and the agriculturists, but they are sending out their representatives who, in line with the commercial credit officers of the commercial banks, are visiting them, are visiting the farmers, the growers, and making them aware as to what all the development is taking place as far as the extension of the agricultural credit is concerned. And of course, the banks are vigorously following and towing the lines as set forth by the State Bank of Pakistan. क्योंकि हमें ये अंदाज़ा है, मालूम है कि जब तक ये एरिया, जब तक ये फील्ड, जब तक ये एग्रीकल्चर हमारी और तरक्की नहीं करेगा, उस वक्त तक ज़रूरी नहीं होगा कि हम बहुत ज़्यादा ग्रो कर जाएं। अब इसका एक थोड़ा सा कंपैरिजन करते हैं इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन के साथ। अब थ्रू आउट हम ये देख रहे होते हैं कि इंडस्ट्रियल एक्टिविटी कितनी हो रही है, लेकिन जो हमारा बेसिस है वो तो एग्रीकल्चर है। अगर एग्रीकल्चरल एक्टिविटी हमारी बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाए तो फिर हमें एक दूसरा सेक्टर, ये मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि ये इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्टर को ग्रो करना नहीं चाहिए, उसे भी उतना ही ग्रो करना चाहिए। अगर किसी वजह से अगर इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन में थोड़ी सी कमी भी वाक़ई हो जाती है, कुछ नहीं भी होता, तो हमारा एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर इतना ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग होकर आगे निकले कि वो सारी जो कमी है वो पूरी हो जाती है। तो लिहाजा इस ज़िम्न में जो स्टेट बैंक ऑफ पाकिस्तान की हिदायत हैं, इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं कमर्शियल बैंक्स के साथ, वो बहुत ज़्यादा मौसर अंदाज में फॉलो अप हो रहा होता है, जिससे कि हमारी एग्रीकल्चरल इकानमी को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा फ़रोग़ हासिल करे। और इस सिलसिले में, as I have said to you earlier, that as far as the publication of the reading material is concerned, it is not only restricted to that, but definite efforts are being put in. The people are going over there, the representatives from the various commercial banks are going there, the State Bank of Pakistan representatives are going over there. They are holding conferences of the large agriculturists in that area in order to make them aware as to what is going around. Orientation is taking place, reorientation is taking place, introduction of the financial facilities are being extended, then the various kinds of farming techniques are being imparted, the knowledge of them is being conveyed to them, they may make available all what is there. And in that regard, if they are running short of funds, they may approach the concerned commercial bank or the agricultural bank to fulfill their needs. Let's see. Banks are vigorously going for car leasing business. Can such facility be extended to farming? Rural community by providing agricultural machines, equipments, implements including tractor on leasing, hiring, rental basis. This is a very important area which may not have been ignored altogether, but definitely it may not be to that extent as supportive as in the case of car leasing. You could see for now that whenever you go out on a road, you would find hundreds and hundreds of cars, and hardly you would come across any old car. That is, a car which may be of 7 or 8 years old running on the road. You will never find it. But as far as this tractor leasing is concerned, as far as the other farming products leasing is concerned, that may not be that rampant as compared to the car leasing. Well, this is the need of the time, this is the need of our economy, this is the need of our economic growth, that we must be making an all-out effort as far as the growth in our agricultural economy is concerned. A very relevant idea that is there. So this kind of an extended facility as far as the leasing of a tractor, as far as leasing of a thresher is concerned, or as far as leasing of any agricultural implement is concerned to the farmers may be considered, and that too an extended agricultural loaning facility should be thought about, and an agricultural policy in this regard should be enunciated ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इसमें फाइनेंसिंग हो सके और वो कामयाब हो और ज़्यादा हमारी इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ एग्रीकल्चर के हवाले से पैदा की जा सके. The State Bank of Pakistan has already allowed banks to extend leasing facilities to the farmers under the scheme for tube wells, tractors, harvesters, etc. These machines, equipments, implements are also available to the farmers on hiring, leasing and rental basis through leasing companies. Yes, ये एक एरिया था जहाँ लीजिंग कंपनीज अपना बड़ा क्रिटिकल रोल प्ले कर सकती थी, और अब उन्होंने क्रिटिकल रोल प्ले करना शुरू किया। गाहे बगाहे हम मीडिया में देखते हैं कि इसका एडवर्टाइजमेंट हो रहा है, कमर्शियल्स आ रहे हैं, और यहाँ तक के अब वो वाक़यात भी सामने आते हैं जैसे पानी चोरी के वाक़यात। अब ये पानी किस तरह से चोरी होता था वो प्रिवेंट हो जाता था। हम रात दिन ये देखते हैं मीडिया पर कि अब ये पानी जो है वो पहले जहाँ चलता था बीच में से कहीं गायब हो जाता था, और जो असल काश्तकार है, असल जो फार्मर है, उस तक नहीं पहुँचता था। मगर इसमें भी अब प्रिवेंशन हो गया है। लिहाजा अब तरक्की के साथ साथ ये एग्रीकल्चर को बहुत ज़्यादा फ़रोग देना ज़रूरी है, लाजमी है, और जिसे कहना चाहिए कि ये हमारे लिए, हमारे सर्वाइवल के लिए लाजिम व मलजूम है, इसके बगैर हमारा गुजारा नहीं है। बल्कि जिसे कहते हैं ना कि ये sine qua non है। Sine qua non means without which something is impossible. We cannot survive without the development and the desired growth as far as our agricultural economy is concerned. So leasing companies do take an initiative of leasing out the tools and implements which are required for the promotion of the agricultural economy, but on not such a large scale as I had discussed with you about the car leasing. They should go out on the same footing, on the war footing as they are doing for the car leasing. They should go out and lease agricultural implements as far as the leasing is concerned, and it is going to help us a lot. Tremendous assistance and boost in our agricultural produce would be the result. And there is another question which will be there in our minds, and I will be giving you the answer for that: whether leaseholders of orchards are eligible for agricultural loans from the banks. अब orchards होते हैं, आप जरा सड़क पे बाहर निकल के देखिए कितने खूबसूरत सेब होते हैं। आप देखें हमारे अल्लाह ताला ने कितना बड़ा अतिया हमारे लिए दिया है। आप जाएं, मुख्तलिफ किस्म के सेब आपको जगह जगह पे आपको नज़र आएंगे, मिल जाएंगे, एंड यू विल फील सो प्राउड ऑफ दिस लैंड, so proud of this Pakistan, that there is such a produce that is there. अब क्या होता है, ये तो खुदा का एक अतिया है जो अल्लाह ने हमें दिया है सेबों की शक्ल में, या इसी तरह से और आमों की शक्ल में, कुछ भी होगा। ये ज़मीन जो है कितनी ज़रखेज़ है कि इसका हम अंदाज़ा भी नहीं लगा सकते, और हमें महसूस होता है। तो ये सारे जो एरियाज़ हैं, क्या ऑर्चर्ड्स के लिए, चाहे वो आम के बागात हों, चाहे वो सेब के बागात हों, क्या हमें फाइनेंस की ज़रूरत नहीं होती? क्या हम अपने महदूद रिसोर्सेज में रहते हुए हम इस तरह से, अल्लाह ताला हमें जो अतिया दिया हुआ है उसमें प्रोडक्शन है, अगर उसमें सरमाया और लग जाए, अगर उसे किसी तरह से हम और उसमें फ़रोग हासिल कर ले, दे लें, तो क्या हमें और इसमें आसानी और बेहतरी ना हो सके? Is there any limit for agricultural financing? No, there is no limit on agricultural loans. However, the loan limit amount is assessed by the agricultural credit officer, the branch manager, on the basis of financing appraisal or feasibility report, etc. Now, there is another question. I will be putting on questions one after the other in order to have a complete guideline, in order to give a complete guidance to you as far as agricultural credit is concerned. And that question now that I am going to raise is, do the bank branches functioning in remote areas have sufficient information about the schemes for agricultural financing? आपके जहन में ये भी सवाल आता होगा कि आप इतनी स्कीम्स की बात कर रहे हैं, तो क्या ये इक्विपमेंट equipped हैं commercial banks की branches जो rural areas के साथ हैं? The answer for this is in front of you. Guidelines on different financing schemes and other instructions issued to banks are communicated to banks with the instructions to send the same to all concerned branches. In addition to this, State Bank of Pakistan has published brochures about different loan schemes, which were translated into Urdu and regional languages and distributed amongst stakeholders, including agricultural credit officers and mobile credit officers of rural branches of the banks. Moreover, special outreach and training programs organized in collaboration with commercial banks create awareness among the farming rural community of the agri-financing facilities they can access, and also to enhance the capacity of commercial banks in agricultural and rural finance by providing training to local agricultural credit officers of the banks. Yes, due credit training is being imparted in order to ensure that requisite training is given to all those who are dealing with this agricultural financing. Another question is, what areas are covered under the agricultural loan scheme? The agricultural loan scheme has been designed to cover the entire Pakistan, including AJK, with no restriction of territorial jurisdiction. Any farmer grower can avail bank credit from any designated branch of banks throughout Pakistan as per his choice. Likewise, banks are also free to provide credit to any farmer throughout Pakistan subject to completion of required formalities. And we had been discussing with you the required formalities so far. Another question which is there, and through questions that would come up in your mind, the answers that will be given accordingly, we would have a fair idea as to what is the agricultural credit and how it is helping the Pakistani agricultural community in order to have a promotion as far as the agricultural produce is concerned. And that question which has come now in our mind is this: what types of securities, collaterals, are acceptable to the banks for providing agricultural credit to farmers and the growers? Agricultural land under the passbook system, urban rural property, commercial property, defense savings certificates, special savings certificates, gold and silver ornaments, personal surety, hypothecation of livestock and other assets. For example, motorboats, fishing trawlers are generally accepted by the banks as collateral. So this is the completion of the securities that is there. Now, throughout this lecture, we had discussed as to what could be the factors involved as far as the agriculture financing is concerned. We have, during the course of our lecture, discussed the agriculture sector in Pakistan, then the agro-based loans and the criteria, the role of the state bank in agriculture sector, the role of the various banks in agriculture sector, the collateral which is required as a security for the agricultural loan. Whereas by now, it is quite clear and amply clear that as far as the extension of the credit facility, as far as the agriculture is concerned, will be there. And of course, you will have absolutely no difficulty towards obtaining the agricultural credit in order to promote the agriculture of Pakistan. Because, as I have said to you earlier, during our discussion and initially also, that it is the agriculture which is the firm importance, and nothing will be there unless and until agriculture is increased, as 60% of our population is agro-based. For now, I hold back here and only to say Khuda Hafiz until the next.